From sea-level racetracks and nearly perfect atmospheric conditions, the 2014 NHRA Pro Modified Series moves to the mountains of Bristol, Tennessee. It's one of the most difficult racetracks to negotiate.
It's pretty tough up here on the mountain.
And who would know better than one of this racetrack's favorite sons? Within the NHRA is a class of car that defies convention. Door slammers with nitrous, turbos, blowers. These are the Mavericks. This is Pro Mod. Welcome everybody to the fabled racetrack known as Thunder Valley. This is Bristol Dragway, and in fact, a track operating in its 50th consecutive year of competition. Qualifying in conditions as high as 4,000 feet above sea level resulted in damage like this manifold explosion experienced by Mike Castellana. But that's the trick racing here at Bristol. Tuning ability and driving performance are key here. And remember the last time we saw this guy, Steve Matusik? He was flying off the end of a drag strip into the sand trap. That's why he now packs his own parachutes.
I was kind of bored, didn't have anything else to do. I got to earn my salary here, or whatever I'm paying, but yeah, I'm doing that now. We're experimenting a little bit. We got cameras on the car. We're trying to figure out what's going on with the chutes. So that's my job now.
Yeah, he's took over the chute duty after he went McKiddle. I think he'd rather pack the chutes, which is good. But yeah, and Rose over here watching TV.
Current point leader and reigning world champ Ricky Smith is his own crew chief, but lots of other drivers are active.
What are we doing down here, Donnie?
We're making a 4-link change. The car carried the front end quite far, and just want to try and get it, keep the front end down and see if we can go a little quicker.
Unit 5s!
Have you seen that crowd of cars that we're racing with?
Did you hurt anything?
Now we're just checking out a couple rings, that's all.
All right.
It looks good.
Everything's okay.
Everything's good.
Talk about relaxed and kick back. I mean, you barely got in.
All the guys on the Jakes.com team just did a phenomenal job of getting this baby back in line. We got the best team here, that's for sure.
And then there's 2012 world champion Troy Coughlin, who can afford to let crew chief Steve Petty tune that bright yellow turbocharged Corvette from Jegs.com as he lines up against West Virginia coal entrepreneur Jim Lorida and his West Virginia coal rear and Morrison-powered nitrous-injected Camaro. Once again, the top three combinations in this field, turbocharged, nitrous, and supercharged, qualified within 1/100th of a second of each other in the top four. And problems for Troy Coughlin, a huge upset here as Jim Lorida, spouting fire across the finish line, defeats the 2012 world champ and one of this year's toughest drivers.
What's it feel like in there when one of these things goes off like that? Well, after you've done it for a while, a few times, it's not as dramatic. But the first time when I first started this several years ago, it gets your attention.
Joe Costella on the top end with West Virginia's Jim Lorida. We move to the second pair of round number 1 of eliminations. It's the turbocharged BAC Enterprises Pontiac Firebird of Clint Satterfield taking on Chicago veteran Dan Stevenson and his crew chief, the legendary Tony Christian, with their nitrous oxide injected 2014 Chevy Camaro. Another big upset as Stevenson, the number 12 qualifier, drops the number 5 seed in round number 1. Wow.
All season we've been struggling first round. I beat the guys on the starting line, and it's something, it always bites us. But to get past the first round, just a great feeling.
Now one of the most anticipated races of the event. It is the reigning world champion and current point leader Ricky Smith, who surprisingly qualified only 10th in this field, against Steve Matusik, the driver of the Agave Underground Tequila team car in the far lane. These two only qualified 7/1000ths of a second apart, so nobody knows how this one's going to end up. They leave the starting line and Ricky Smith has to get in and out of the throttle. What an upset! A day filled with surprises, but nobody expected that one to be a sweep for Matusik.
Jimmy Rector, his tune-up, caught us down the track. You know, Ricky Smith's a legend. He's won a lot of races. I feel privileged to race against him, but that was awesome.
Indeed it was, because now with Troy Coughlin and Ricky Smith out of the field, the door is wide open for this man, Mike Janice from upstate New York, and the machine that bears the name of the company created by his father James Janice and Tony Sentra back in 1958, Jansen Automotive. He'll be alongside Stephen Whiteley, the young rookie from Grand Junction, Colorado, who qualified 5 positions ahead of Janice, but now he smokes the tires. And this one's going to Mike Janice, who with that victory takes over the #1 position in the point standings.
We're just happy we won that round, and old Steve here, my buddy Steve, took care of Ricky for me, so things are looking good right now. Yeah.
Good job, man.
Thanks. Thank you.
There's Steve Matusik, who, as Janice thanked, has made it possible for Mike Janice to take over the point lead. We'll be back with a continuation of round #1 from Bristol. Velocity Channel's exclusive coverage of the 2014 NHRA Pro Modified Series is brought to you by ARP, the world leader in fastener technology. By Precision Turbo and Engine, the winning edge in boosted performance. By Aeromotive, serious fuel systems for pro mods to hot rods and everything in between. And by Flowmaster, the exhaust technology company. We're back at Thunder Valley, Bristol, Tennessee for the continuation of round #1 of eliminations in this NHRA Pro Mod Series event, and this could be one of the toughest battles of the entire round. It will pit this magnificent showpiece, Colorado's Mike Nowes and his blown money supercharged methanol-burning Camaro against this guy, the one and only Don Walsh in the Galot Motorsports Harry Haruska-owned Precision Turbo Boost Camaro. The car is equipped with 22 different real-live C-notes embedded in the paint scheme of that gorgeous Tim McAmis-built Chevy Camaro. 3,800 feet above sea level and very, very rarefied air conditions, a big wheel stand for Walsh. But the car drifts towards the center line, and Knowles pulls off a huge upset. 14th qualifier defeats #3. The Killers are just going down left and right here in the opening round of eliminations. That'll bring up Mike Castellano. We already showed you the damage he incurred during qualifying with the Shannon Jenkins-tuned SpeedTech Nitrous Solutions Western Beef Camaro taking on the Dr. Moon's Rage Chevrolet, driven by Vaughn Smith, who is trying to figure out how to improve.
Howard's up there working on the computer right now, and he'll figure something out. It can be a different car the next round. You just never know.
Between these two, multiple world championships and national event wins. Mike Castellano from Long Island, New York. Vaughn Smith, however, is the hometown boy from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And a red light start for Vaughn Smith and problems for Castellano. He throws away the first 5-second run of eliminations. Vaughn Smith will never live this one down.
I felt my car lay over a little bit, so I shut it off. I looked up and I saw my wind light on, so I figured he red lit. So, I mean, you know, we got lucky that round, and hopefully that's the only lucky one we need this weekend.
Now the #1 qualifier in the far lane takes on this man, New Brunswick native Jim Bell in his turbocharged Camaro. It was Kevin Fiskus who earned the pole in his Mustang.
Got to thank my crew. They're all volunteers. They don't get paid. They come out here. Some of them travel at their own expense. We've qualified really well the last 4 races. Now we got to put it together on race day and get us a win.
It's important to note that even though this is #1 versus #16 qualifiers in this match, they were separated by less than 1/10 of a second. Fantastic onboard footage with Fiskus as he takes the victory. You saw him get on and off the throttle just to try and calm that car down for the win.
It was a pedal fest. It shook at the 1-2, had to pedal it, but it hooked back up and took the win.
Now a final race of round #1. In the near lane, one of the most popular cars in NHRA Pro Modified Series drag racing, the CRC Brake Clean sponsored 1969 Dodge Daytona of Pete Farber and this guy, Danny Rowe, the driver of the Agave Underground Tequila Camaro, one of 2 which qualified for this field. the New Englander and the West Coaster Danny Rowe. Stage up. And another red light start, and it comes from the man who would have won the round easily. Danny Rowe, just like Vaughn Smith, throws away a 5-second elapsed time. And Pete Farber's coasting 88-mile-an-hour shot is a winner.
I did see the red light over there for Danny, and they had the better car so far this weekend. We've been struggling with the conditions. We've got the power. We just overcome the track because you have to shoot for it when you run those guys.
It just is frustrating. It's a stupid, stupid move, and I gotta apologize to everybody, and you know, we gotta make this back up. You know, we had a chance here, and we really screwed it up, so it's all on the driver. Thanks.
It should be noted, Vaughn Smith red lighted by 5 thousandths of a second. Danny Rowe left the starting line 16 thousandths of a second too soon. Coming up next, round number 2 of eliminations here from Thunder Valley, in which 3 of 4 pairings will guarantee us a matchup of 2 different types of induction. Stay with us. Welcome back to Thunder Valley in Bristol, Tennessee, located in the far northwest corner of the mountainous region of the state of Tennessee. We're ready to start round number 2 of the NHRA Pro Modified Series with Mike Castellana and the Speed Tech Nitrous Oxide Systems Camaro against Steve Matusik's supercharged Camaro, and Castellana has a lot riding on this run.
Well, we were happy he took out Ricky. You know, Ricky was ahead of us in the points. So if we can take out Steve, I think we'll be in number 1 in points. I'm not sure exactly, but I'm pretty sure. So it'll be a good race, but we'll be ready for him.
The Shannon Jenkins tuned Speed Tech Nitrous Systems Western Beef machine, sponsored and for that matter owned by Sheikh Khaled Al-Thani of Qatar, against the sole surviving Chevy Camaro of Mike Ivy's Agave Underground Tequila 2-car operation, Steve Matusik, who took out Ricky Smith in the opening round.
You know, I hate to say it, Ricky's a little bit of the nemesis right now just because of some of the things he said in the press, but you know, you can't take it away from him. Ricky's a true legend. His name's out here, and you know, that's what makes it fun. You have a rivalry.
Another 6-0?
I don't think so. There's a little bit left. I was out of the throttle a little bit early. Believe it or not, I'm a little gun shy down there, and I get on the shoot button a little early now. Go figure. I think there's a little left. Jimmy's got a smile, so I think he's got something up his sleeve.
Well, tuning is going to be critical in this match because right now the corrected elevation is over 4,000 feet above sea level, the worst we've seen this year. And it's a great drag race, but by a full car length, Matusik advances to the semifinals, taking out Mike Castellana.
That was badass. Jimmy Rector, Aeromotive, Agave, everybody that's involved, this is awesome. We're having a great time. We hope to get to the final. I guess we're moving up in points.
And for the second consecutive round, this man has benefited from a Steve Matusik win light. With Castellana now out, Mike Janice can concentrate on winning this race and more points.
The track doesn't seem like it wants to hold anymore, so we're just gonna, I guess try and go another 602 and drive it and make it go down. It's gonna be a really tough round.
Well, Janice is probably right. Against Mike Knowles' supercharged Camaro, the sun is beating down on this racetrack. The air is thinner than it has been at any other point before this. And you've got to figure out a way to get down this track without spinning or shaking the tires. Both drivers appear to have done just that, and Janice stretches it at the other end of the racetrack to take the win. Knowles was also in the 6-0s, but slowed near the top end, and Janice will advance to the semifinal round. Now, turbocharged Ford against nitrous oxide injected Chevrolet. The West Virginia coal magnate, Jim Lorida. Over the past 4 seasons, Jim Lorida has become one of the quickest and fastest drivers with a nitrous oxide injected combination. And he has proven that out at this race here at Bristol.
The driver's ready, the crew's ready, engine management guys ready, we're ready.
One would think then they've got the entire package prepared. and they will need it against the #1 qualifier, Kevin Fiskus, and his twin turbocharged machine, the Ford Mustang he campaigns with partner Josh Klugger. Staging ever so shallow. Both drivers take the green light, but the Camaro starts to drive away, and this one wasn't even close. The quickest run of the round so far for the nitrous oxide injected car of Jim Lorida.
If I told you the #1 qualifier would have you off the starting line by a couple of hun, would you have thought you had gotten the win?
No, did he trade me a little bit? Okay, we'll have to work on that for next round. It's going to get tougher.
You were in it. You had a 50, so you were in it.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, Kevin, good job. Thank you.
Putting the Thunder in Thunder Valley, our final pair of round number 2, Chicago and Dan Stevenson's nitrous-injected Camaro against New Englander Pete Farber, the Baldwinville, Massachusetts-based CRC brake clean 69 Dodge Daytona Charger. Not many fans ever get a chance to see a representative of the glory days of NASCAR, the 69 Dodge Daytona round track machine converted to drag racing, but Dan Stevenson is trying hard to become a nitrous racer in the semifinal round. It's not gonna happen, I don't think. Although he was in and out of the throttle, Farber wins it with a 606, putting a smile on the faces of the crew.
My crew worked hard. We changed the gear ratio 2 times before we started the car. Car didn't shift, had to change the tranny. Mistakenly put the wrong ratio in it, had to build it again. Then I'm going down the track. Couldn't see where I was going because the sun's reflective off the dash in my eyes, and I'm kind of going. I don't even know how I cut that light because I couldn't see the tree.
Geez, and we thought everything went fine. Coming up, the semifinals in which Jim Lorida is the only driver not piloting a supercharged entry. The turbo cars are gone. Stay with us. Velocity Channel's exclusive coverage of the NHRA Pro Modified Drag Racing Series is brought to you by Agave Underground, 100% agave tequila. By CRC Industries, chemical solutions to keep you moving. By Stage 8, the world's best locking fastener. And by Hurst, America's #1 shifter. It's the semifinals at Thunder Valley. 3 of the 4 machines remaining are supercharged methanol burners, with Jim Lorida's nitrous oxide injected West Virginia Camaro rounding out the final 4. Steve Matusik in the Agave Underground Chevy Camaro has been consistently in the low 6-second zone all day, but Mike Janice now has a points championship on his mind.
We leading the points first time ever in NHRA, so thank you, Steve, but we're not friends right now.
Meanwhile, consistency has been the strong suit of the Jimmy Rector-tuned Agave Underground Chevy Camaro, and with weather conditions heating up, now may not be the time to mess with the combination.
I still think we have a little bit more up our sleeve. You were just saving it. You know, we're waiting for it when we need it, and then we're going to take advantage of it.
The winner goes to the final round. Both are now point contenders for the first time this season. What a drag race! And Matusik, with his 3rd consecutive 6.0-second elapsed time, advances to the final. Watch the replay here, 606 to a losing 607. It was 0.006 of a second.
We're going to the final, and we're going to win it. We're in, we're ready to go.
It's going to be hard to beat that kind of drag racing, but Jim Lorida and Pete Farber will now wage war for the other final round berth. The supercharged Dodge Daytona has been reasonably consistent all day long, but not as tough as Lorida.
Got any more in it?
Yeah, we always think we do, right? As drag racers, that's the name of the game. You think you got more and more until you don't.
And as stated, more may not be the key here. Just getting to the finish line on a solid low 6-second run may win the whole thing. Lorida's gone 6 flat and 601 back to back. The Mopar stages last. Both cars move around, but look at this. The winged Daytona Charger will, for the 2nd time today, limp across the finish line a winner. It doesn't matter. Farber's in the final. Watch the replay for violent tire shake. Wow, that throws Farber around in the cockpit of the Dodge.
Well, I knew Lorida was coming for me. He's a good racer over there, and we're not too bad, though.
One gets the feeling that Pete Farber isn't quite aware that he's made it to an NHRA National Event final round again.
Pro Mod 101 is brought to you by Precision Turbo and Engine.
Harry, most race fans are familiar with the Lenco transmission, been around a long time, but usually they see levers sticking up. What's this?
Well, this is an air-shifted Lenco transmission, and all the driver has to do is hit these buttons. It's a 4-speed transmission. It starts in first gear, and this is 2, 3, and 4 right there.
Wow, much more efficient.
Oh, yeah.
And probably quicker than actually pulling a lever.
Yep.
And it's air. So this is the tank over here that causes it to shift. How often do you have to fill that tank with air?
Well, it never goes empty. We just keep it high. We change it about 3 times a weekend. Every day we change it at the end of the day.
To make sure it'll shift.
Correct.
Now the signal goes out to fire him up for the final round of the NHRA Pro Modified Series here at Bristol, Tennessee and Thunder Valley Dragway. Pete Farber's CRC Brake Clean Dodge Daytona Charger lines up with Steve Matusik in the Agave Underground Tequila Camaro. Neither driver will change the way things are in the point standings. Mike Janice will leave this racetrack as the point leader, but both these drivers have fought all day for a national event win. Matusik is all over the racetrack, and Farber puts down a 6.08 second run to win his first NHRA National Event title with crew chief Al Billis. What a job! And finally, it dawns on Farber just what he has accomplished.
Pete Farber, first off the starting line, first to the finish line, your first NHRA Pro Modified win.
I don't know what to say. What an accomplishment for CRC Brake Clean Daytona. My family, my wife at home, all the guys on the crew, Al Billis, Dan Page, race cars, everybody who's helped me. Man, we got a good power, we got a good car. NHRA, it's just awesome to be here, guys. It's awesome.
And the emotion in Pete Farber's voice shows the true importance of a national event win on this series. On behalf of myself, Brett Kepner, Joe Costella, and Ted Jones, thanks for being with us. We'll see you next from Norwalk, Ohio.